happy Monday to the few people, C Cube and Chud. I don't know who you are, but that makes me happy. And smack him. It's probably Joe behind that. So we are doing a team space, which we've talked about for months now, and it's all happening right now. We've got the team together for the first time. So it's me, Weston, Koza, J Builds, and Warlock, and we'll do like a brief little introduction to kind of what we're all taking care of here at Orbit. I'll start for those that aren't familiar with the voice behind the Orbit profile yet. I'm Juno, the CMO here at Orbit, and yeah, doing my part to help promote the platform and spread awareness, and also just kind of talk all things Orbit. That's typically what I end up doing. And I'll hand it over to Weston. Sir, are you on a KVM switch, sir? Can't hear you. Okay, Weston's figuring out his mic, so we're gonna move right on over to Koza.
Yeah, I'm Koza. I handle the Discord and community relations for Orbit and also do what I can to assist Juno with all of the marketing planning and execution. And I'll throw it over to Warlock.
Uh-oh, can't hear Warlock either. Yo, I swear we're developers here. I promise, we're all technologically savvy. Weston, are you back? Are you working?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm Weston, one of the founders here. Been with the project about 10 months, primarily focusing on strategy and vision and what we're bringing to Hedera.
Right on. So until Warlock. Oh, is that Warlock? Is he speaking? I saw little bubbles come up, but now they're gone. All right. While we wait for Warlock, we can head over to J Builds.
Hey, what's up? Y'all hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I'm Jay Builds. I'm our Web3 engineer over at Orbit, handling a lot of the smart contracts, blockchain data, tokens, all that kind of Web3 stuff. I've been in the Hedera world for a long time, really since the early days. I've helped out Pluto over at Hashpack with some of their features, Saucer Swap as well. I helped contribute to. So a lot of the big names that you know in the ecosystem, I've kind of been there in the background helping people out informally. And so it feels good to really be on a big project now, contributing to stuff. So that's me.
We are lucky to have you. And Warlock, are you alive? Oh, Warlock's gone. Okay. That's totally okay. He'll come back around and we'll get to him. A lot of the people in the community have ended up talking to him by now, but they haven't heard his voice. So hopefully we can get that working out. The flow, while we wait for Warlock, we're going to dig into the questions that were asked on our Reddit AMA, and then we're going to transition into the questions that were asked in our Discord, and then we're going to be inviting all of you up to ask any questions that you may have for any of us on the team. Really, it's not, that won't be formalized. It's very free form when we get to that point. All right, let's see.
So I think Juno will be taking the first couple questions. And these, again, are just from the Reddit AMA. Our first question is, can you describe if or how Orbit is different from other platforms on Hedera, like Saucer Swap, HSuite, Diffused Labs, etc.?
Yeah. Oh, there's more to it?
Oh, and just what are the advantages to using Orbit over others?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first thing that sets us apart is I think our scope in the UX of Orbit is very much so tailored to kind of high volume and high velocity trading. And the whole point of Orbit is to really give its user base, quote unquote, an edge. And that we kind of deliver that by providing various data queries and data streams that these solutions that we're leveraging aren't. And the simple kind of difference between it is that their use cases, such as saucer swap, you don't necessarily need to provide insight onto sniper percentages or kind of holder analytics. That kind of ends up being more of a seedy thing that Orbit can then deliver on top of saucer swap, for instance. We're not a DEX fundamentally. The way that I kind of discern that is if you're DEX, you're likely hosting liquidity pools for other people to trade in. And that's not what Orbit's doing. We are just accessing DEX liquidity pools from across the network. Right now, we are just supporting Saucer Swap, and then that will expand to, let's say, Silk Suite, Volsfi, perhaps, if you're familiar, you've heard them be around. Basically, any DEX marketplace or launchpad that goes live on Hedera, we will be looking to integrate so that Orbit remains kind of a terminal into all of the tradable assets, at least HBAR assets here on Hedera.
Love it. Love it. Second question is, how can Hedera attract more DeFi users, volume and TVL, or are those not worth chasing because many opportunistic traders will just jump around to whatever chains are offering the most extra incentives currently? From what you have seen, can we trust numbers on sites like DeFi Llama, or is there some gaming or pumping of the numbers through things like wash trading and bot accounts?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say in Web3, it's pretty, at this point, I don't want to say standardized, but it's not uncommon for numbers on metric sites like DeFi Llama to be skewed, whether that be malicious or not. People wash trade, people do various things on every crypto network. So those numbers, I think, largely should be taken with a grain of salt. But I think the numbers also convey pretty accurately popularity of certain protocols, how widely a protocol is being used, and the amount of users that they have. So yes and no. You don't want to only look at that for verification, but I think it's worth looking at. And then in regards to how can Hedera attract more DeFi users, volume and TVL, I think it really comes down to builders building attractive solutions. And that can be simplified into creating more ways for retail on the network to play with their H bar. I think the network has kind of been siloed and kind of like the user journey has just been limited in a long way, or in a short way, I should say, where we had wallets, we had token launch pads, we had dexes, and the most recent like big innovation that we've seen, I think, at this point to the network and retail is Bonzo with their collateral lending protocol. I think that's an absolute proven pillar of DeFi throughout crypto right now, and that's the newest kind of way to play with your H bar and just providing more in-demand solutions that in demand being things that are popular outside of Hedera, like the protocols and the solutions that people are excited about, whether that be perpetuals, et cetera, et cetera. Creating those solutions and bringing them to Hedera directly translates to Hedera becoming more attractive.
Couldn't have said it better. Our third question is, how will Orbit leverage trading work? Is that like a Bonzo integration? Speaking of Bonzo and yield farming, I was wondering if you plan to integrate Bonzo Vault support from within Orbit so people can easily farm yield in between trades.
Yeah, I mean, Bonzo is a pretty stellar crew, and their protocol definitely allows us to do quite a few things. I don't think we'd be using it for leverage trading, but for something like yield, yeah, absolutely. We just recently chatted with Brady and let them know that we had started development on something related to Bonzo and leveraging Bonzo, and he is very excited. He, gave us all of the kudos and thanks for even considering Bonzo as a solution to let us do what we want to do. So he's excited about it. He thinks it's a great idea, and we're excited about it because we kind of know it's a good idea. But yeah, in regards to leverage trading, we won't reveal too much about what's going on in that. It's also not fully announced yet, but there might be more information coming in regards to the future of Orbit, what we plan on bringing into Orbit throughout 2026, come January perhaps. And I see Warlock is up. Are we speaking?
I don't know. Are we?
Oh yeah, we are. All right. What's up, Warlock? Who are you?
Yo, I'm Warlog. I'm doing a bunch of full stack development on Orbit. That's the app, APIs, backend. I've been doing full stack web development for close to 10 years, mostly in Web 2 and breaking into Web 3. And it's super exciting. Love the platform, love the community.
And we love you.
Especially anybody who's ever opened a tech support ticket in the Discord. They're like, they know Warlock is that guy.
Yeah, for sure. He's the
Well,
backbone. He's the glue.
Yeah, we're
for
hunting
real.
things in there.
All right, we'll take it right over to question 4. I think we're going to throw this one over to Weston. Has this platform model been done successfully on other chains?
Yeah, definitely. So this model came out probably about a little more than a year ago on Solana. If anyone has ever traded over there, you're probably familiar with Photon, Bullex, Axiom, Padre. These are just 4 of probably half a dozen or so that are still in existence. But very popular, very successful. I'm just looking at some like the Dune Analytics pages right now for their performance. You know, if I'm looking at Axiom, they alone have done 35 billion in volume with over 1.4 million users. Photon's a little more just historically because they've existed a little bit longer. They're about 50 billion in total volume. So very successful, very active sort of models is what we're basing these off of. And if you're familiar with DeFi Llama and you go over there and explore, you can actually see that these models are outperforming the actual layer 1 that they're built on, along with the top dexes such as Radium, Meteora as well. And so it's definitely a successful model. It's known. It's been around for over 12 months. So we've got a lot of good data to work with and models based on like our UI, UX, and what we want to offer based on what we've seen on Solana.
I think I speak for all of us when I say that we're absolutely stoked to be bringing this over here to Hedera. So super awesome. And question 5 is, do you compete or take away volume from Saucer Swap or Hashpack?
No, it's actually very complementary, especially to Saucer Swap. So I think Juno alluded to earlier, we're not a DEX, right? We're more of a terminal that acts as a routing service through these DEXs. So we're built on top of them. So whenever you trade with Orbit, it's getting routed through Saucer Swap's API. And so you're actually contributing volume to them as well. And so in no way are we competing or taking volume away from DEXs, current or future. As for Hashpack, they're the top number 1 wallet that exists on the network. We're not trying to be or provide what they're giving to the community. We have our own in-app wallet, but it's strictly for token trading services, HTS or future ERC20. We're not going to offer like the full UI UX that you see with Hashpack, and it's strictly for the needs that we need for our platform to function, such as the allowance for instant swaps without the pop-ups. So that's really what we're doing it for our own in-app wallet system. So we're not competing with Hashback at all.
And I think that it's worth noting that that also extends over to our recent meme job integration. They're still able to collect their fees. We're just able to route the activity back over to their platform via Orbit. And I think that's the beautiful thing about what we're building here.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
One thing I just want to add
That's
to it
exactly
before
what I was going to say as well. Just real quick, we have the Saucer Swap in there and now Meme Job as well. So if Orbit is having all this volume and all these users, it also grows Saucer Swap and Meme Job at the same time. And as more
Yep.
Hedera markets get deployed and other people build them and they all get brought into Orbit, and people are using Orbit, the whole network and the whole ecosystem kind of grows along with it, which is a real benefit to this kind of application.
Yeah, we were in a meme job space on Friday, and I was chatting with Tutor and the meme job team, and that was kind of my favorite part. Is there's a very real possibility that through Orbit, these solutions that we're leveraging end up getting more users, whether it's because we're abstracting who we're providing and they just don't know that they might be trading a meme job token or a saucer swap pool, or eventually a silk sweep pool or things like that. It's a very real possibility through Orbit that we actually bring users to these protocols.
Absolutely. And Jay Builds, we would love to hear, is cross functionality with other chains part of the design in this stage of infancy, or will it be addressed on the road? And if so, what chains would be easiest to onboard or the most compatible with Hedera?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there are some very interesting cross-chain things that we're working on. I can't speak about all the details at this moment, but yeah, that we're exploring that. I've been doing some real deep research about what's really possible with Hedera and how it can interact with other chains. I think in the big picture, this is something the network has been trying to push towards recently. The foundation has been working on its EVM compatibility and improving that. And historically, Hedera has kind of been siloed away on its side. We have this great technology, but the double-edged sword of that is it makes it harder for other networks to plug into Hedera because it works so differently. And so it's part of this bigger wave of Hedera getting more connected into the ecosystem. We're now seeing Axelar, this big bridging solution, is starting to really bring in Hedera and work with them. Other tools that are all derived from Axelar, and so Orbit's been involved with that. We've been doing our own research. We're pretty well connected to these other groups like Axelar that are working with Hedera. And so altogether, yes, there is cross-chain functionality coming. There's some real exciting stuff that we're working on. As for the second part of that question about which chains are easiest to integrate with Hedera, I'm not sure how technical the audience in here is, but there's something called an EVM chain, an Ethereum virtual machine chain, where you can have these various different kinds of blockchains, but they can all be interacted with in a similar type of way. And Hedera has been working on this EVM compatibility, and it's getting stronger and stronger. And so it's reaching the point where a lot of these different EVM chains can have this powerful cross-chain compatibility with Hedera. And so that'd be chains like Ethereum and Base and Arbitrum and tons of others. Basically, all the EVM chains have this, capacity to have this cross-chain functionality with Hedera. So that's the first thing that we're really working on is this the various EVM chains that can all be interacted with.
Hello, future. Am I right?
That's right.
All right. I think we're going to throw it over to Warlock, resident wizard extraordinaire. How does Orbit protect users' wallets, private keys, and funds?
Yo, great question. First of all, I was looking at the people in here. Shout out Fly. Fly was the token I traded the most when I was testing the meme job integration. So appreciate you. We've worked a lot on securing the wallets. We break the private key up into multiple pieces, some of which we need to save in order to ultimately decrypt it, and other piece that actually lives with you. So if you've logged in to the application, you've noticed that it asks you for a PIN number. And a PIN number is a way that we ensure that we can never control the private key of the wallet. Using a KMS system in AWS, we store the wallet private key information with the AES and the initialization vector in 3 separate places. Those 3 separate pieces of information are brought into the browser and then combined with your unique PIN in order to ultimately decrypt the wallet, which is pretty cool because by using a PIN, it doesn't actually tie you to a device. You can log in wherever you want without needing to worry about the passkey that's stored on your hardware or something like that, which I think is kind of cool. Like if you've opened up Hashpack on your phone, you just need to like re-import everything. And obviously that's a different setup. And they have higher security requirements than us because we're a non-custodial wallet. So the onus there is that you're in control of your wallet 100%. We're not trying to take any of that control away or manage your funds. We want the platform to be very self-driven. And yeah, it's very secure. So trading on Orbit never exposes your private key. We never touch your PIN number. And the actual private key itself barely exists even in the context of the application. If you're familiar with JavaScript, the key actually only is never like held in the application's memory. It only exists inside the execution context when it spins up during the function call to actually make a trade. So it would actually be very hard for the key to even be grabbed by like a malicious extension or something like that, because that extension would have to be able to pause the execution context right at that very precise moment. So I'm pretty confident and pretty happy with the way it's worked out. Working with wallets is super cool. We use the wallet signature to verify the user's login. So we build a JWT off of the signature. That whole like sign in with Ethereum flow, SIWE. Pretty awesome stuff.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
let me add to that just real quick about the
course.
vault and the non-custody, right? We've been committed from the very beginning about never having any kind of control of the user's funds, or and the user controlling them. And our lives would be a million times easier if we were able to just spin up your key and do what we want with it. But we've intentionally made that impossible for us. So, when building the limit orders, for example, if we could just instantiate someone's wallet and have them do a buy when we want, it'd be simple. But instead, we did it a much more complicated way in order to make sure that the user is always the one in control of their key and their funds. And I just wanted to bring that up. Because I've been in crypto for a long time, and I understand that I want to be the only person with any kind of access to my key. And so in all our design, decisions, there's usually an easy way. If yeah, and then there's the way we actually do it, which will be more complicated and more difficult, but then ensures that the user is the only one who has the ability to hold their own key or see their own key.
Yeah, I think one thing about this team is we've all kind of tried to preserve that spirit of crypto, that ethos that we've kind of been exposed to since the beginning of our activity here on any blockchain, and it's really just kind of finding that balance between security, decentralization, and self custody. And I think we're going to continue to be big advocates for all three of those ideologies. Um, so now we're going to jump into some of the Discord questions that were asked. Weston, we'll have you go ahead, take the first one. Are you planning on adding non-HTS tokens in the near future?
Yeah. Answer is yes. So we do plan on supporting ERC20s. So if you're familiar with recent developments that happened a few months ago with Sasha Swap with him onboarding ERC20 support for Axelar, there's been a few liquidity pools spun up with ERC20 tokens, and so we are planning in 26 to do that as well. And so any DEX liquidity pools that are paired with an ERC token and HBAR are in slot to be showing up on Orbit.
And I can definitely see that being a lot more prevalent over the course of 2026, and Orbit always doing what it can to stay 6 months ahead. Juno, will there be tutorials for newbies that may want to learn how to use Orbit's features and the platform itself?
Yeah, so right now, we've got like a little walkthrough, like a very early on into the onboarding flow of entering Orbit in our documentation. We've added some pictures and kind of a step-by-step process for getting into Orbit, but we're going to be looking to expand the knowledge base, let's say. And there's a couple different ways that we can do it, but we think the most effective way is going to be making like pop-up windows. So let's say if we push an update and something changes within the app, the first time a user signs into that new app state, there will be a pop-up kind of explaining what's been pushed to the platform and maybe located and highlighted somewhere on the screen. But ideally, it's a pop-up covering what's been added, and then that's what's coming for like future editions. But we will be adding that same functionality basically for the whole app. Just a rough kind of quick pop-up showing the function that's being discussed, whether it's like the buy and sell module, where also limit orders are located, or perhaps I mean the feature's not added yet, so it kind of goes back into what's coming. But let's say we add like a wallet tracker to the site, there would be a pop-up kind of showing, hey, this is where the wallet tracker is located, and here's a brief rundown of how you use it. And we think that'll help the kind of knowledge gap when entering Orbit if you're not really familiar with the terminal and everything that it offers, without forcing everybody that joins to go through a tutorial, quote unquote, because it's kind of realistic that who we're building Orbit for, whether they're already present on Hedera or they're active on another chain, they are likely familiar with terminals at this point, and they may not need to be forced through a tutorial. So we think that the one-time pop-up windows plus our documentation will be kind of a good enough combo for quote unquote tutorials into orbit.
Agreed. Agreed. And we'll throw it up to the third Discord question. I think this one's for Weston. Will most of the team info remain anonymous, or will it be doxed in the future?
Yeah, so currently I'm doxxed, so we're supported by the Hedera Foundation. I've been doxxed KYC to them and those working there. Um, but I think as for the rest of the team, we'll likely stay as we are with our, online aliases for now, time being. But the foundation knows who we are. We've been KYC. We've gone through their protocol for that. So yeah.
Just real quick, adding on to that too, like we've all been doxxed within Weston. All of our payment is happening over fiat rails, so we are doxxed amongst ourselves and to the foundation. But yeah, reiterating that at this point, it doesn't really kind of make sense to dox to the network.
Yeah, I would also add that, a number of the team have also been in Hedera for a long time, like years and years at this point. So, not a full docs, but I think, a lot of us have a good amount of reputation that could be, leaned on and are well known by other people, other trustworthy people in the community.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
well said.
mean, I think these days it really is just a safety thing. We got to be thinking about the safety, especially when we're bringing something of this scale to a network.
However, that we are planning on going to events. So if you are showing up to one, you can meet us in person when we go to them.
Oh, absolutely. HederaCon 2026. We'll see us there.
Yes, sir.
And Juno, our final question. How's Orbit planning to fund its early stage incentive program? Will it just be from trading volume, platform fees, and NFT sales, or will partners or the foundation chip in? If it's only from platform revenue, are you worried about the current activity level? And how do you plan to increase usage in the coming months?
Yeah, super loaded question, but right off the bat, like most of our reward structures, whether it be cashback or referrals, that is coming from the platform fees that we collect. It doesn't need outside incentives to fund it. So that's just a great system that we have. We don't need additional support to deliver something like that. Really, the only thing that I can think of where outside incentives or funding would come to help us incentivize a feature or a campaign would be for something like an additional airdrop, which we don't have planned at this point, or our current airdrop, where right now users can farm the platform and get an airdrop of our Orbit token when we launch it. Incentives could enter that to make the airdrop bigger, quote unquote, but that's kind of the only time I see it really being necessary. Now, in regards to promoting user activity and user growth, there's a handful of conversations that have been made over the last couple months between pretty major influencers, whether it's Crypto Wendy, Merlin, et cetera, to set up partnerships and ambassador programs with them, and also people here on the network that we're all familiar with. We believe that once those get rolled out and we have actual marketing campaigns happening, we have YouTube videos being made to promote awareness, we're confident that that should play a huge role in bringing users into the app. We're also pretty excited about P&L cards. P&L cards are a really effective way for word of mouth to spread on a company. You know, it takes one user on Twitter to share 1,000% P&L card with Orbit branding on it, and then suddenly everyone that follows that user is like, "Whoa, I want to go to Orbit to catch 1,000%." And it ends up being a really effective marketing tool that happens at the community level. Not to say that we only are going to be focused on that or relying on that, but it's just a very organic part of how these terminals start to spread awareness of themselves throughout a network. So I think collectively, all of those things together will help user growth and activity.
Absolutely. And I mean, personally, I'm super stoked for P&L cards. That was one of the things that I think really captured me on other chains. We had mentioned, Photon, and we also used to use Trojan Bot back when I was like first exposed to trading. And I think just sharing those P&L cards was one of my favorite pastimes, and it really did help drum up some noise. And I know that it's going to do the same for Orbit. Just kind of puts that power in the community's hands. And we've even talked about opening up kind of like a little flex channel, in the Discord, so we can kind of flex those P&L cards as they come out, along with, of course, sharing them on socials, etc. But
Real
I
quick
think,
too, just to add to that, like in addition to that, also coming up with custom P&L cards. So we could create like a Gib branded P&L card, and then that allows communities to kind of rally behind themselves when they're trading, right? So there's there's a lot that we can do in terms of integrating Hedera lore and allowing communities to kind of experience some sense of tribalness through these P&L cards for sure.
very true, very true. I think at this point in the show, we are going to take some listener questions. So if there is anybody that would like to come up, if you have any questions for anybody here on the team, this is kind of the time to shoot your shot. Feel free to request to speak.
And then while we wait for people to come up, we did just get kind of a last minute question in the Discord. Any news about the NFT allocation? I know that me and Weston have talked about that a lot. We said that we'd be disseminating kind of that update to the plan this month, basically. So Weston, if you want to like give a date for when we're going to announce that, or at least a time frame, or your thoughts about the NFT allocation changes.
Yeah, I mean, we're still going through them. I'm actually working with a firm that's partnered with the foundation regarding tokenomics. So there might be slight changes. I don't think we'll have something finalized the end of this month, but I'll plan to have something released January with any updates to the tokenomics or related NFT allocations. They'll be positive. They're not going down.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I'll respond to him in Discord right now. Well, okay. I would love to have people ask our whole team questions on the spot, since that just sounds zesty and fun. But if we're not going to have people come up, that's totally okay as well. I feel like Cube or Shano could very easily ask a question right now.
And I mean, if not, I would say that our team is probably one of the best when it comes to being able to reply in Discord, making ourselves available for, said questions, any kind of information people are looking for. Since day one, we've tried to prioritize just making sure that we're active and touching base with the community, whether it's, us trying to get Q&A on a new build, or even just, clarifying where in our documentation they can find the information they're looking for. So
Yeah, we're all extremely active in the Discord. We basically live there. Or I have our Discord open on a separate tab 24/7. Okay, we got the Niggas coming up, I think. Perhaps.
You have
What up, the
Cube up
Niggas?
here as well.
Oh, we got Cube. All right.
Can I talk now?
Yeah.
Hey guys, I've been wanting to say you have a wonderful team. You have been doing amazing progress on the platform. I really love what you guys are doing. I really feel confident about where you're heading, and the ability that you guys have to adjust to whatever is going on or whatever you think you need to complete your goals in order to complete or have a better product before you get the NFTs or the TGE ready. It's amazing, and I congratulate you for that. I do have one question about the security of the platform. One of the reasons I do like the platform. I love it, and the detail, the stuff that you're adding on the on the platform. It's amazing. But one of the things that draws me from stops me from adding money or BTC or any kind of crypto is the security concern. You haven't addressed it to me at least. Um, when you go to a platform and you put your money there's always a security risk, obviously. But when you have uh, um, a way to make sure that the person that is using your platform feels safe about not getting hacked, it feels much better. Are you guys doing anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, before I open it over to Warlock or J Builds, I might want to add more technicality stuff. We plan on auditing everything. That's kind of step one, in my opinion, in terms of conveying trust, or at least allowing another entity to vet us, so that you don't just have to kind of blindly put faith that we're handling the money right. So code base audits and wallet audits are coming. We've just been pushing backend code and building features a little too fast to warrant a code base audit at this point. But once we get closer to having the full scope delivered, it's absolutely coming.
But it is on your plans then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful, because I think that's one of the drawbacks when building a platform is that if it's not being audited, people are afraid to put money there or crypto,
No, and
because
I
of what.
totally agree.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely understandable. It's just the rate at which we're developing. If we were to audit now, we would have to audit again in 2 months. I mean,
makes sense.
there's a lot of action going on in the background. But yeah, if Warlock or J Builds want to chime in on kind of what's been done for security so far, then by all means.
It does make a lot of sense what you're pointing out, and I appreciate your answers. It puts me at ease, and I feel more confident about where the platform is heading. You guys are wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I want to add on that. We talked about the security of your private key. So your private key is safe, and another part of this is when you load in money because you're in control of your private key, you're not actually giving any money to Orbit, right? Your money is going to be held in your Hashpack wallet. And so when you get your private key, you can import that wallet into Hashpack. And it's just a completely normal wallet, a wallet that only you are in control of. And you can move money from your primary sign-in wallet or anywhere else, money that you're ready to trade with, not all of your funds, and have sort of a trading bucket of money in your Orbit trading wallet. And that money is only used when you trigger a trade. And obviously, without an audit, we're in like a trust us bro scenario. That's why we're going to do that. But in terms of where your money is actually being held, we never hold it. It's always in completely self-managed wallets that you're in control of, as we're a non-custodial platform.
So right now, I have a very small amount of coins on the platform. So you're telling me that you guys are not holding those coins to the in my hashback wallet? Is that what it
Yeah,
sounds?
we
Yeah,
don't
in a
have
way,
the
correct.
coins.
We do not own what you're holding. You would need to import your trading wallet into Hashpack to be able to view those assets in Hashpack, which you totally can do via the private key that we offered when you spin up a wallet. But yeah, just to kind of simplify it, Orbit does not hold any user funds. That's all being held at a user level. So the nice thing is, we are less concerned about Orbit being hacked and making all of these trading wallets vulnerable. That's not quite where our brain is. But the reality is then at a user level, if you were to click on a spoof Orbit link, connect to a malicious DApp or something exploitive, the user becomes the one at risk. So it does kind of still require due diligence on the user and what they are connecting their app to, but it does not fall on Orbit being vulnerable and all of our users being vulnerable through us.
Okay, I understand. So all this time I thought I was comparing you guys to probably Coinbase, for example, where you can buy and trade assets there.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a completely different platform.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
super different. Coinbase is a great one to be compared to because in Coinbase, if you send HBAR there, you don't actually have a Hedera wallet. Coinbase stores all of their users' HBAR in one global wallet, and then your memo,
Right.
which is why you have to attach the memo. So they're completely in control of your money. You're sort of dependent on them to be, doing what they're doing. Here, because you own your wallet, no, there is no giant pool of money. It's Warlock's money, it's Jbill's money, it's Juno's money, it's Weston's money, it's Benigas. Sorry if I mispronounced your username, but your money is your money held in your wallet, and then we basically trigger a transaction on chain on behalf of your wallet using the private key decryption method we discussed earlier.
Okay, so if that's the case, you will be doing the auditing just to be safe, right? Because you're not, since you're not in control of the assets, there's no worries in my, I guess, based on what you're telling me.
100%. Yeah, the audit that I think from a user wants to see here, like you, the audit you want to see is, hey, a third party has looked at these contracts, looked at these smart contracts, looked at the Solidity code, and verified
Right.
that the money is going where you intended it to go, and the recipient of the funds is you, as you intended the trade to do, and the contract isn't trying to steal from you at all, which we're not doing, and we're going to get an audit so that for sure we're not doing.
Right. That was
Yeah, I would
wonderful.
say something I appreciate this concern. I mean, I have a lot of background in Web3 security, and the way Orbit and all these contracts were designed, like we mentioned, it doesn't hold funds. Where you do a trade on Orbit, and it routes, and your tokens are swapped, and then at the end of everything, the tokens end up back in your wallet. The Orbit contract isn't like accumulating all this money, and all the big hacks that happen in DeFi, it's always like that. There's some contract and it holds a bunch of Ethereum, and someone finds a way to steal all the Ethereum out of it, and all the users, get their money taken. Whereas none of the Orbit infrastructure actually holds any money, and so there's not like a target. It's not like a hacker is going to find out how to steal all the money in the Orbit contract, because the Orbit contract isn't accumulating money like that. It executes the trade for you, and then when the trade is finished, you have all the tokens in your wallet, and there's nothing left for a hacker to steal. That's kind of accumulated in a vault somewhere. Which at the very beginning of this, that was a thought I had, is like, where is the H bar actually going to be held? How can we make it so that there isn't one vulnerable place where everything could get stolen if there was a hack. So just from the design perspective, we were thinking of ways to make it that there isn't like a target like that. There isn't one thing someone can hack to take all the money in that sense. So, but I do appreciate that question a lot, as someone who's been involved in Web3 security for a while.
Yeah, banger question. Cube, what's cracking?
Gentlemen, pleasure as always. Thanks for having me up. It's especially nice to actually hear Warlock speak. I do a lot of chatting with Warlock on Discord, so very good to hear your voice, brother. And Jay Builds, first time hearing you speak as well, so very nice to meet you as well, my dude. Um, uh, Two things. One, just to add to the question, I guess that was asked initially. Like I always looked at it as a you know the wallet that I have is still mine. I'm in full control, and before I sign any smart contract on any D app, I'm double checking to make sure it's matching what I'm doing. So I never really had a security concern, though. I'm always up for security audits, so look forward to that whenever you guys do it. But in the meantime, funds are safe as far as I'm concerned when I'm dealing with you folks. So that's just my 2 cents on that specifically. My question uh, is to do with trading in orbit. So currently, I can place orders, whether it's market or limit, using HBAR. I was wondering if there will be support in the future for USDC, native Hedera USDC, because like with the way the market is right now, I'm not holding any HBAR, but I am holding USDC, And it'd be cool to be placing limit orders with that USDC directly rather than having to first put in a sell order for my USDC to get it back into HBAR to make those kinds of trades. Is that something that will maybe be done in the future?
Maybe this can kind of become like a symbiotic question between me and Weston. So the design choice behind focusing on HBAR pools comes from a very simple desire to promote the base layer of this network, so that we are doing our part to promote activity of HBAR and to promote the value of HBAR by creating more vehicles and more features and more offerings for you to do things with HBAR. We modeled that based off of what we've seen market leaders do on Solana. We do not see them offering USDC pools. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to shoot ourselves in the foot and not quote unquote be innovative, but we haven't felt the internal pressure to offer USDC pools. Now, that being said, out of any pool, Silk Suite's kind of a little bit of an outlier because they operate using their own token for pool pairings. But USDC probably is one of the very, very few options that we could expand down the road. But right now, we're not feeling the pressure to make it happen.
I'm putting it on you now.
All right, fair
Do you
enough.
know? No, it's all good. But yeah, no, I mean, if you guys were to, potentially offer that. Sorry, Warlock, if I'm adding more on your plate and J builds, but it would be cool. Just throwing that out there.
It's a quality of life thing for sure. It absolutely. I think the conversation really becomes one of innovation and do we do things a little bit differently, while also keeping the philosophical kind of goal of everything on orbit relating back to HBAR and what that actually does for the network overall. We're passionate about that. We understand why market leaders only focus on the native asset pool pairings.
Yeah, no, and I'm with you there. I mean, obviously, we're all here for HBAR, and that is the main thing. It's just in times of like market volatility and uncertainty and stuff like that. Um, I mean, yeah, I might be alone, but I feel like a lot of traders are kind of sitting on stables at this point.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally
So,
not alone for sure. It's totally a quality of life thing that we can
yeah.
consider.
And then one last one. Uh, just curious, will we be getting the nuke button that I was requesting? Is that
Oh
something that
yeah,
we might could get?
that's not Warlock. It's a question for Warlock for sure. I think that it
Remind
fits
me
our
of the
scope.
nuke button.
The nuke button's basically a sell all positions button and probably close out all orders button.
Oh yeah, interesting. So that could fit really nicely with some of the UX flows we're going to be working on in Q1, which basically right now when you click trade, the trade flow blocks. It's kind of just one trade at a time. But we're working on making that feel snappier. So as soon as you click trade, you can keep on making trades. We want to be prioritizing speed, which is going to imply a sort of a queue of trades that would fire for each click. And so implying the existence of a queue for trades, um, a sell all would essentially just queue to trade all of your tokens with your balance. So I think, yeah, that would be a pretty easy, fast follow.
I was definitely a fan of the stop bleed recommendation. I think the market was extremely red that day, and we all kind of sympathized with Cube when he came up with
Yeah.
that question. We were all like, you know what, that's not a bad idea.
Before we hand it over to Tunji, J Builds, I don't know, like I know
Yeah.
Hedera
Good.
has been
Good.
pushing
Good
the
evening.
batch transactions code. One sec, Tunji, just to finish up Cube's question. I think
All right.
maybe batch transactions perhaps might come into play for something like a nuke all button, because we could just kind of send out all of the transactions at once.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly could. In general, Hedera has been pushing these new kind of unique, interesting things that you don't really see on other chains that we've been quite looking into. So yeah, when you want to hit the big red button and nuke everything, we'd be leveraging any kind of Hedera technology to make that happen as quickly as possible.
Nice, solid. Okay, Tunji, sorry about that. What's up? How's your day going?
Yeah, good evening. I'm fine. How are you doing yourself?
We're doing pretty good here.
So basically, I want to ask, what is Orbit all about? Is Orbit like Axiom? You know what Axiom is? A platform on Solana. a trading platform on Solana, is that what Orbit is all about? That's my first question. I
Yes.
mean, are you building something like that, something similar to that, or something like Axiom on Solana? Is that what we're getting on HBAR?
Yeah. We're looking at Axiom for quite a lot of inspiration and design choices. They're one of many terminals that we respect over there. But yeah, I think the quickest association is that Orbit is aiming to be the Axiom of Hedera.
So basically, I can go to Orbit's website or the platform and trade any HBAR token.
Yeah, yeah, that's what we're aiming to do.
So are you guys live or still building?
We are live on Hedera mainnet. You can spin up a wallet and trade in Orbit today.
So if I create a wallet or I can connect my existing wallet to the platform.
Yeah, you would connect via hashpack, and then upon connecting for the first time, you spin
Because
up a.
the last time I was trying to connect, it is not working perfectly. I don't know. Maybe you guys are on beta at that time. So that
Um,
I'm asking.
yeah, I mean, I think Warlock just pushed a update in the last week, kind of improving connectivity and the connection flow into Orbit, mostly revolving around hashpack right now. But you can connect and trade today.
Okay, so basically, are we going to have Orbit token or Orbit token? Is
The
that ever going to happen?
the Orbit token, is that what you're asking?
Yeah. But I, I
Yeah.
I bought some NFTs. You know what I'm asking.
Yeah, so the Orbit token will be coming. Likely, we will be creating a liquidity pool for that on Saucer Swap when we launch it, and the claim will go live basically immediately around that time, and users can claim their token and then trade it how they will.
Okay, that's not happening very soon. If I'm correct, you guys are
It'll be
really
ha-
really involved. I
it'll
mean,
be
you guys are.
happening in 2026.
All right, all right. Thank you very much. I mean, that's all my question.
Yeah, thank you for coming up.
You're
Uh, we've
welcome.
we've got about 5 more minutes before we were aiming on wrapping this up. But if anyone has a question, I know Skittles asked to join earlier, or come up and speak, or ask a question, talk with anyone on the team. We'd love to hear from you and have a conversation about it.
I guess I have one more. I can't remember if I've asked it already. If I did, I might have forgotten. And sorry if I'm repeating myself or if you've mentioned it already. But the did you by chance confirm, maybe not exact day, but like what quarter we could expect to see the social scan function added in for trading?
Oh yeah, I mean, right now our roadmap's pretty dialed in, and that was kind of like an additional feature should development hit a lull where we are looking to kind of fill the time with a new feature. That being said, I would say at the earliest, unless things move ahead of schedule, probably Q3, and it might even be Q4. But it really depends on the rate at which we get kind of the core scope delivered, and then on top of that, then it's kind of adding popular additional features that we've seen elsewhere, and then bringing them in on top of the core scope that we have planned. All right, I invited Skittles up. We'll see if he comes up and asks a question. We got Cosmic, Fly, Chud. I still want to know who Chud is. So bad.
Man of mystery.
Okay, well, I'm not going to keep people in here just vibing out to silence. The Spaces is recorded, so you'll be able to kind of listen back and go over what we talked about today at whenever you want, really. Oh, we got someone. Chud. Yes. Is he coming up?
I don't know. The space is doing that weird thing where the profile pics start reshuffling. It's usually not a good sign.
Yeah, it's been a little jank today. What's up, Chud?
How's it going? It's Silencio actually. But my
Nice.
Twitter got banned. Yeah, Elon banned my Twitter at the top, so I just fell back to one of my various accounts. I just want to say that things are sounding pretty good. It's exciting to watch the roadmap and watch the roadmap unfold, and I'm looking forward to see where things go from here.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's been quite a journey since you were with us, and we've got a lot to kind of continue to deliver. But we're stoked for it. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, bullish times. Keep it going.
And that was like a celebrity surprise guest appearance right there. What?
The fact that he's under the Chud handle cracks me up. For those that don't know, Chud or Silencio was a dev that we brought in for some part-time work a couple months back. So that was a nice surprise hearing a former teammate pop up and say what's up. What's up, Skittles?
Oh, hey man. Also, I had a question. Like, I don't know if you've seen that, like, lately the SEC, like, they approved to, like, be able to, like, tokenize and trade the stocks and all of that. And, like, I don't know, like, are you aware of Swarm, however you pronounce that word? Swarm. So, like, they're basically creating a DEX where, like, you're able to trade, like, the stock market here in Hedera. So, like, my question was, like, is there any way that Orbit will like implement Swarm into like Orbit? You know, like give a way for like to trade the stock market off Swarm?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how they do it, if they were to tokenize a stock and then create an HBAR pool that it's tradable against, that fits our scope, and I could see us offering support for that. I think it really depends on how the Swarm protocol is going to allow users to trade those assets. But yes, kind of very in line with Orbit is if these are tokenized assets within HBAR pool in which it's being traded in, that directly applies to something that we can support and that fits our UX. And that's a solid question. I think, keeping up to speed on future marketplaces that are coming to the network and if they fit into Orbit, I think it's awesome to ask that. Because again, if and when we can ever add an HBAR pool in, we are going to do that. That's the whole point of what we're building. And I think this is coming up on exactly an hour. We had some awesome questions come up and get asked. And more importantly, all of you got to finally hear from the team. And that makes me happy because it's really just kind of been me be in Orbit. And I'm totally happy with that. But there's more than just me. So I think we are going to close out this space. Thank you all for joining and kind of listening in and getting to know us. There will probably be another one at some point in 2026. I'd love to do another one maybe after we deliver our scope. I think it'll be a very different app at that point. It'll be a really exciting time to reconvene with us and be like, okay, well, you guys have done all of these things. What on earth are you doing next? And I think that'll be a really exciting conversation.